Then Srila Prabhupada takes us on another step, though, in his purport, very interesting, where he begins to introduce that by the next level of examination of our experience, we can see that there's something active in our world, something that we call intelligence. There's some kind of voice, even, you could say, that helps us to analyze and understand things. And he tells us, that's Krishna. He's with us. He's the Param Atma. And as described here, he is the source of the various types of consciousness, the various ways that we perceive the world, based on our desires. Based on our desire. He arranges, because he's the supreme controller, he's within everything. And the other thing he does is he witnesses, he watches. He keeps watch. He's always watching. He's always with us. Always. Krishna is always with us. We may not remember or think of him, but he is there. He's watching. And why is he watching? What's he watching for? What's he looking for? Oh, he was good now. All right, we'll tick that one off. Oh, no. Yeah. Bad boy, huh? Tick that. Is he just keeping track of our sins and our piety? Is that what he's doing? We know about the story of the two birds, right? You've all heard this story of the two birds in the tree. One bird, the Atma, is the enjoying bird, flying from one fruit to another and tasting this and tasting that and trying to enjoy this tree of life. The other bird is watching, is witnessing, and guiding. Oh yeah, you like that kind of fruit? Oh, try that, try this. What is he watching and witnessing for? What is he waiting for? What's he looking for? He's looking for that time, that place where we turn to him. He's just waiting. Ready, waiting. I'm here, I'm here. I'm not over there, I'm not over there. It's not that I'm in the temple, I gotta come to the temple. And then I'm over in a big mountain, or I'm in a cave in the Himalayas, or I'm somewhere else. No. I'm right here. I'm with you. Just closer than anyone could be. I'm here in your heart. I'm just waiting for you to give up. Just give up. Surrender. 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 Give up this hope of success in the material world and enjoying, and give it up. You've had this fruit, you've had that fruit, you've tasted this and that, and you go on to, and you're never happy. Just realize, be honest. Be honest. My old friend Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Perhaps he used to be, wasn't he? He was a regular visitor of Singapore, I believe. He was the GBC, yeah. So some of you may have met him, I'm sure. So back in 1974, I think it was, he finally got permission from Srila Prabhupada. Several times he asked Srila Prabhupada, really, I think I could do some preaching, because he was like managing in India, and he wanted to get out. So finally, Prabhupada let him go. And he immediately joined up with his old friend Vishnu John Maharaj, and they already there was Radha Damodar party. And I was at the time in New York, ISKCON, New York. A little bit of my own history is I met Srila Prabhupada first in his books and through his devotees in 1970 in Toronto, Canada. And then I was initiated in 1971 in New York City, and that's where I stayed until I came to Mayapur. So in 1974, I think it was, this is when Tamal just had come, joined up with it, and they were just starting to develop the Radha Damodar, to expand it. And we started hearing about, how many Hare Krishna Jai Jagannath. In New York, we started hearing these amazing stories, how people were joining their just like that. Day after day, there were people just joining up. And so I was deputed to be one of those that would go and just study, what's he doing? What's he doing? What is it? So they had a kind of a formula, you could say. Vishnu John was he was sweetness personified in his kirtans, and it just so attractive. And so people would be attracted, and then you'd have prasadam, and this was our general formula, that we try to attract people through culture and prasadam, and then we sit down, we discuss philosophy, and hope for some result. But Tamal Krishna took it a little bit to another level, because he would engage in a dialectic with people where he got them to, and I think this is anyone here in sales? No, you're all techies. So you know how in sales there's a technique of getting to yes, right? So to get somebody to yes, you get them to one yes, and then the next yes, and then the next yes, and then the next yes, and so then in the final, okay, yes. Right? So he would take people step by step through the basics of philosophy, and you agree? I mean, yes, yeah, that makes sense. You take them to the next level. Yes, yeah. I guess you're making sense. You take them step by step. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. And then at the end, he says, okay, you've agreed with me on all these things. So now if you're honest, you're going to give up everything right now and you're going to join us. Just put him on the spot. You've agreed. Yes. Now if you're an honest person, you'll have to say, yeah, there's no use. I give up. I give up. I surrender. And people were, yeah, you're right. There isn't any use to going on with what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. I mean, every excuse he would deal with, you have this to, really? Oh yeah, I guess I don't really do this. No, I guess, yeah. Every excuse. All right, here we go. We're leaving tomorrow morning. And people did. So Krishna is like that, waiting for us to give up, to be honest with ourselves and look around and say, oh yes, it's a failure. This attempt is a failure. And to hear his alternative. Surrender to me. Sarva dharmam parityaj. Mam eka saranam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papabhyo mokshishmi. Masucha. Such a promise. Surrender to me. Give up this futile endeavor, and I'll save you, I'll protect you from all the karma that you've accumulated. You don't have anything to fear. Nothing to fear. So this is Krishna within us, waiting, Paramatma, to receive our humble surrender and then continue to guide us. To guide us towards Guru, to guide us towards Bhakti in so many different ways. So here Lord Krishna is explaining how this works, giving Arjuna some lens, some way to see the world, but bringing his attention to Adi Yagya, the real Lord of all that you're doing. The real enjoyer of the sacrifices that you make. The one that receives it all and produces the actual result. For us, being the ever-growing relationship of love with Krishna. So, we'll stop and have time for questions. I have a question for anyone here who knows Sanskrit. What is the proper definition or the translation of the term Adi, A-D-H-I? Because we're all familiar with Adi, right? Adi Purush or Adi this or that, Adi Lila. But Adi, anyone who is Sanskritist? I didn't have the time to look it up myself. Anyone know? Anyway, that's homework for somebody. For me too. I was trying to think of other instances where Adi, Sarvabhadi, Upadi, I thought perhaps it means something like, because it seems to indicate category. Adi Deva, Adi Yatma, Adi Jagya. Any idea? No? All right, anyways. Huh? But how does that work in terms of Adhyatma, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva? Kontriya knows. Well, no, but that's not these terms, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva. I mean, what they just are translated here as meaning those things. It's Adi Bhutam, the physical manifestation. Adi Daivatam, the demigods and so on. Adi Yagya, the super soul. So it's the term Adi has some meaning. Anyhow. Huh? Superior. Okay. A-D-H-I. All right. Anyway, we'll discover that. So, I've asked my question. Now for you, if you have any questions, comments, illuminations, reflections on our topic today.
It normally takes one person.
Anybody can.
Okay.
I'm coming here for the first time.
First time?
Yes.
I should have asked that in the beginning. Are you the only one here for the first time? Is anyone else here for the first time?
Others are here for the first time.
Oh, well, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, so
Thank
I
you.
want to ask, when you were saying about the voices, that that voice is always there with us.
Yes.
And that voice is Krishna's voice, that is our consciousness also. And when we hear that voice, right, usually at the first, it will tell us, if we are in some situation, it will tell us what is right to do, right? And then at the second moment, we will second guess it, and there is another voice which will tell us, oh, this is beneficial for us. So there are two voices, two paths, right? And both, because it is shown by the same Krishna. However, the decision is ours, that we go this or
We
this
have
way.
free will. That's
Yes.
That
So-
is also mentioned here.
Yes. Then, if both the voices are Krishna's,
Maybe they're not.
so what is that second voice?
There's a wonderful prayer called the Serenity Prayer. God, give me the serenity to accept what I can't change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, the ability to know the difference between the voice of God, the voice of actual consciousness, Paramatma's voice, and the voice of our minds. Krishna describes that we are living within two bodies. We have a physical body, which is composed of physical elements, but we also have a subtle body, which is composed of mind, intelligence, and false ego. The sense, the identifications that we live within, of being man, woman, young, old, whatever. So this body acts, and especially it has a voice. The material mind, the material intelligence, the material ego speaks to us. But within that, next to us, we have Paramatma, who has his voice. So how do we tell? The voice of God can be understood in, at least it is my, there's one sure way, okay? And there's another which is a little more intuitive. There's the intuitive way where, the conversation, if you let the conversation go, God always wins. If you really honestly engage with that voice of what's right, what should I do, in a mood of I want God, I want you to direct me, and you really listen in that way, you can be pretty confident that, yes, this is God. But you still have a problem, because it could be your mind. It could be just what you want God to tell you. So then you've got to check. Especially if it's really important. If it's something kind of, should I, have a samosa or two, or, then maybe don't make a big deal out of it.
That's a very simple one.
Yeah. But if it's really something important, then you've got to check. Therefore, we go to Krishna's voice outside of us. We go to his Gita. And we study and we hear Krishna and his Gita. And then if the voice is, it's been corroborated. We can get corroboration of our internal perception of Krishna's voice within us from Krishna's voice outside. We can also get it from Krishna's devotees, those who have given their lives to hearing Krishna and his voice, and their experience of applying that in their lives. So we have Guru as well. So we have Krishna directly speaking to us. We have gurus, and we have devotees. We have Krishna's intelligence is always the most reasonable. It's always the voice of Krishna will always be the most reasonable voice. So that's another element of testing. If your own reason, if your own intelligence, if even by the standards of mundane or material intelligence, something doesn't sound right, like, God says, go out and kill everybody or something, which some people unfortunately hear that kind of voice and take it for a real. It's happened. But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Even Krishna here, although he does want Arjuna to go out and kill everybody. He's not everybody, but just, the Kauravas he wants. But at the end, he doesn't tell you, do it. No, he said, now you've heard. I've explained it all. Now you decide. You use your intelligence. You use what I've given you. You now take that. You decide. So that's my own, we listen, and we try to listen honestly. And generally, if we listen honestly within the mind's arguments tend to fail. Does that answer your question?
No, it actually, and I got my answer. I was wondering how to differentiate between two voices, because when our desires are so much great that we want it badly, we would definitely want to go with the.
You can justify.
Then we justify it, right?
Yeah.
And probably at that point in time when you were talking, I just got this another thing in mind that your last phrase, that's just leave it. Someone, what would I say in English? Surrender, yes.
Surrender.
So you do surrender and just leave it to the Krishna or God, then probably he'll show you the path.
Yeah, when you don't know, when you can't figure it out, that's the time to pray.
Yeah, so you answered my question.
That's the good time to pray and ask. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
I got time for one.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Only my question is, whenever we sleep, so is it for sure that we experience God and that turns out that makes us in mode of goodness whenever we wake up? That is first question. And second is, how can we remain in mode of goodness forever?
How can we remain in the mode of goodness forever? And the first question was?
Is it the case that whenever we sleep, the God always comes and grants us the...
That our dreams and our whatever takes place in our dreams? Are you talking about our dreams?
I read somewhere that whenever we sleep, every time God comes and somehow interacts with us. So whenever we wake up, we always wake up in the mode of goodness.
We always wake up in the mode of... Wow, that would be really something.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, that doesn't happen to me.
So that was the question. Is it?
So whoever told you that, I'd like to know his secret. Because when I wake up, I'm not in the mode of goodness. I have to be very honest.
That's the question. If that is the case.
So I've never heard that before. That Krishna, while we're sleeping, Krishna comes in and cleans house for us. And then, like a maid or something comes in and just cleans everything up, and then, we wake up and woo! Wake up in a beautiful, clean house. No, it doesn't generally, if it's working like that for somebody, that's a very special person. For most of us, no, we go through sleep, and, for us, sleep is a time not... There is some cleansing, generally speaking. Dreams do help to kind of push things aside and move things around and kind of sort things out, and to some extent. They have some purpose, I assume. And sometimes part of it is that sort of cleansing purpose. But no, when we wake up, at least we have to move into goodness, right? We move into goodness. We get up. We shake off the modes of ignorance, really, the sleeping modes. We enter into a nice shower, and we clean, and we get dressed, and then we, especially, this is what we all should be trying to do, is if you want to, in terms of getting into goodness forever, that's another level, but at least maximizing the mode of goodness in our day, then we begin our day with the most sattvic activities. So we begin with the sattvic activity, or goodness activity of getting cleansed and so on, but then we need to cleanse our minds. We need to cleanse the mind, we have to cleanse, and ultimately we have to cleanse our hearts. So what we do, we sit down, we chant. We chant the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So that's what we do, and we chant as long as we can, or at least, if we can, we chant for a few hours, at least for half an hour. Chant. And chant as sincerely as you can, as attentively as you can. Bring that mode, not just of goodness, but the transcendental environment into, and let it start you off, let it get you going. And then as your day progresses, keep trying to come back to that. Keep trying to come back to the mantra whenever possible. If you listen, there's a very wonderful small book which is available free for download, I think, still, called Chanting, or Chant. It's Prabhupada's quotes on chanting, collected. And you'll see in the early days especially, Srila Prabhupada made a big point of how this is free. When they're not charging. And you can do it anywhere, while you're waiting for the bus, while you're waiting for this, while you're doing this, while you're doing that. Just chant. See the result. He's going to try it out. It doesn't cost anything. Just try it out. So the holy names of Krishna, that's They're our ticket. That's our Chaito Dharpanamarjanam. That's the broom that will truly sweep out all the other modes of nature and establish us in goodness and eventually pure goodness, and then it's forever. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Pancharatna Prabhu. We are at the end of the program. Prabhu, I hope you consider coming through Singapore from time to time. Of course, we will invite you, and if you are going through here, we will be very happy to have you here, Prabhu. It's just a very short weekend, though we have the association for other matters.
Yes.
It would be good to have you over a longer period of time. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Before we start Ghar Arati, and I'm going to invite Pancharatna Prabhu to lead us. He's a wonderful kirtan leader. I'd like to invite Kamteya Prabhu. The reason I'm asking is, you all know Kamteya Prabhu. Tomorrow morning he's going to take the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Kamteya Prabhu visited us a few years ago. He's a very senior disciple of His Holiness Chittaka Swami. He's the minister for the congregation ministry. And today he has some books that he wants to share. If you recall, Kamteya Prabhu didn't come alone the last time, though he's alone today. But he came with his wife, Radha Govinda Mataji. She is one of ISKCON's most famous Vedic astrologer. And she has, amongst other talents, being preaching and everything else, she has some very interesting and very thoughtfully written books. Kamteya Prabhu is here as a husband to elaborate a little bit more on that before we start Ghar Arati.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
How are you doing?
God.
So, this is a book, How to Mess Up Your Life with Astrology. My wife is an astrologer, but she saw that often it is misused. There's also a little preface from Banu Maharaj. What he says, I don't have my spectacles.
Banu Maharaj is saying, astrology can help you become more successful in life, but if you fail to approach this ancient science with the right mood, oh, it's here, Banu Maharaj. Those who wish to consult an astrologer should read this book in order to prevent disappointment or disturbance in their life. Maybe I should have introduced this a bit differently.
Then we have another book by my wife, another astrological book, The Wild Side Inside. That's a book about Rahu and Ketu. How many of you have Rahu and Ketu in your astrological chart?
Everyone.
It was a trick question. So this is how to deal with those two, and but with devotional remedies. And then I have a third book. This I put together. No, not this one. This one. This is especially for women or for those who know women. Did Srila Prabhupada want women Diksha Gurus? Question mark. If you want to know the answer, read this book. And we set a price which is, I think, reasonable. 5 Singapore dollars each.
Very reasonable.
So, and where did they find it?
We will put it.
Okay, and keep the money separate. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
How many of you are going to come tomorrow morning to hear Kamteya Prabhu? Haribo. Thank you, Pancharatna Prabhu. Thank you, Kamteya Prabhu. There's a third member. This is a team. They came to work with me for the last few days on the constitution of ISKCON, right? And they're very esteemed members of that committee. And the constitution for ISKCON is something Srila Prabhupada wanted. And I think it's very helpful to have a constitution to regulate the affairs of our society. So very kindly, they came to Singapore, even though they're all from Mayapur, and they allowed me to be able to be engaged with them. Devashri is not here. Devashri Radhika Mataji, she is the third member of the team, but I know that she'll be coming tomorrow morning. She's not here today. But we saw her in the morning for the Vyas Puja. Some of you would have met her. So tomorrow morning, 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning, come and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the evening, for the Bengali program, Pancharatna Prabhu will be taking a class. I heard that he also takes classes in Bengali. He's been in Mayapur for years.
Ektu kichu.
Okay. But you know how...
আমার বাংলাতে মানে গ্রামের ভাষা এখানে কেউ বাংলা বলে?
There we are.
কয়েকটা
Well, tomorrow in the evening, you know how many Bengali devotees come, right? You'll be lucky if you have space to come. So that's why normally we have one program separately for them, Prabhu, because that's the time they all gather together. So that's the program in the evening, and I'm sure the Bengali devotees, when they hear that Pancharatna Prabhu leads Kirtan, they won't stop him at class, they will ask him to continue with Kirtan. And we all know how ecstatic they are when we have Kirtan too. So I hope you'll be ecstatic now for Gaur Aarti. Please come and join us. One very important point, next weekend we have His Holiness Badri Nayan Maharaj coming through Singapore. Right? So he's going to be here from the 13th all the way to the 19th. So we have many programs lined up and we hope to see Maharaj. After that, the following weekend, if all goes well, I think we'll have His Holiness Bhakti Prem Maharaj. And I'll keep you all informed on that. And then the following weekend after that, we are having the Chinese